Good day everybody, I'm Riley the Orange Fox, and welcome to another edition of The Work of the World. I'm joined once again by Leon the Wolf. Good day, Leon.
Hello, my Vulpine friend. How's Mark settling in as a beast brother?
He's still a little shy as he's only done it for his first time so far, but give him some more episodes of British Blogger and he'll settle in just fine.
Now before we start, I have a tradition for my new partners.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this.
I like to share a dessert bite with someone whenever I collab with them for the first time. Sure, this is our third time, but I'm willing to make an exception for you.
What is a dessert bite?
It's Oreo pudding on top of cheesecake with an Oreo crust.
Sounds really good.
Go on, try one.
Thank you. Delicious.
I'm glad you like it. Hopefully the audience likes this new tradition. So what's the game of the day?
Actually, Leon, I'm not reviewing a game today. I'm reviewing a film, Pokemon the Movie 2000.
Did you say Pokemon the Movie 2000? I love that movie!
So do I. That's why I'm reviewing it today.
Correction, that's why we're reviewing it today.
It was a deliberate blooper on my part.
Sure. Anyway, a few things before we begin. First of all, we will be covering the entire movie, and we'll have some arguments and complaints to make. Do not feel bad if we argue or complain about something you like in the movie. In fact, we'd love to hear your opinions, so be sure to leave them in the comments. Just be nice about it, we don't want trouble.
And if you haven't seen the movie already, we're going to be talking a lot about the story, so spoilers are everywhere. For those who haven't seen it, I would strongly advise you to stop watching now.
And with all that said, time for our feature presentation. To start, a quick history lesson. The Pokemon anime is one of the longest running animes in media history, lasting over 10 seasons.
The Pokemon cartoons follow the story of a young aspiring trainer named Ash Ketchum. He starts off at the tender age of 10 on his Pokemon journey around the Kanto region.
Followed by the Orange Islands, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, Unova, and currently the Kalos region. And each season has its own movie. Gen 1, otherwise known as the Kanto era, had Pokemon the first movie. Quick moment on the soapbox. Why did they have to name it that? It was like they were expecting more movies and more seasons. Were the producers really that cocky?
Careful, they have to meet consumer demand.
Back to the business at hand. Pokemon the Movie 2000 was the movie of Season 2, the Orange Island Saga, which has been a mixed bag for fans. It was good, but we never got a game for it or even a spin-off.
Now that you mention it, I'm a little curious as to why we never got one themed around that generation either.
It was not its own generation, it was more like 1.5. Time for the movie proper. Our story opens with our main villain, Lawrence III, as he reads aloud the Shimudi legend for the audience.
Disturb not the harmony of fire, ice, and lightning, lest these titans wreak destruction upon the world in which they clash. Though the water's great guardian shall rise to quell the fighting, alone its song will fail, thus the earth shall turn to ash. O chosen one, into thine hands bring together all three. Their treasures combined tame the beast of the sea.
Lawrence III is my least favorite of the movie villains. He is, in his own words, a collector, treating them more like dolls or stamps.
He desires to collect the legendary Pokemon, a collection he started with a rare trading card of Mew. He has come to the islands near Shimuti to collect the legendary Pokemon Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres. As per the legend, however, just disturbing one of these legendary Pokemon against their will has started a worldwide weather disaster, meaning that Ash Ketchum is now committed against his will to save the world.
Let's not get ahead in the story. The next scene involves our heroes enjoying a peaceful day at sea, and decide to let their Pokemon out for a little fresh air. We have Ash, the aspiring trainer from Pallet Town aiming to be the greatest Pokemon master in the world, and his loyal team of Pokemon. The ever-loyal Pikachu, playful Squirtle and responsible Bulbasaur, the rebellious Charizard, okay maybe not all loyal, the lazy and ultra-heavy Snorlax, still can't believe they actually gave him one, and a Lapras, the greatest Gen 1 water type ever.
Next up is Misty, a young girl who was originally the water-type gym leader at Cerulean City. She joined Ash after episode 2, albeit having a regular grudge against him for destroying her bike while trying to escape from an army of angry Spearow. Her team this season is Staryu, Goldeen, the iconic Psyduck, and Poliwag.
And we have the new character, Tracy. Tracy temporarily took over for Brock, who left to help Professor Ivy with her research, for obvious reasons. He's got a Scyther, a Gen 2 Pokemon called Marill, and a Venonat, which he totally needs to evolve.
And of course, as they always seem to be in every single place that Ash and his friends go to, no idea how they always find him so easily, our Team Rocket. That's Jessie, James, and Meowth. Jessie has an Arbok, James has a Weezing, and Meowth is a very unique Pokemon in the cartoons, as he can speak fluent English.
There is a very wasted opportunity with these three in this movie, but we'll get to that in due time. Our heroes get caught up in a storm and wash up on Shamudi Island just in time for the big fun. Cue the annual Legend Festival!
That's right. Our heroes conveniently arrive on the island just in time for a very important holiday, and a few things happen in quick succession. The introduction of the character of Melody, who plays Lugia's song on her ocarina, Ash being named the Chosen One, against his will since he happens to be a Pokemon trainer, and Misty's unusual sense of humour for the movie.
Might I ask what that would be?
At regular intervals during the movie, Misty is mistaken by Melody as being a boyfriend of Ash's, a relationship which Misty strongly denies.
If only the fandom didn't go nuts with this idea. I hate shipping. Oh, shut up! I consider myself a very sane fan, thank you very much.
Calm down, Leon.
My apologies. Let's move on. After a quick check-in with Professor Oak and Ash's mom, we cut back to the festival. As the spunky Melody begins the legend ceremony, putting on a beautiful garb and playing a very nice-looking shell ocarina. And we are treated to our first major exposure to the Song of the Sea Guardian, otherwise known as Lugia's Song. 'Tis here that Ash gets the task of the day. He must travel to shrines on each of the 3 islands near Shamudi, the islands of Fire, Ice, and Lightning, home to the legendary birds Moltres, Articuno, and Zapdos respectively. From each shrine he must retrieve a very special treasure, glass orbs matching in color to their legendary birds. Once he brings them to the Shamudi shrine, Melody will celebrate by playing Lugia's song. This tradition is to help imitate the quest that the Chosen One must go on to save the world as foretold in the prophecy. This is deep and I love it. It's a really good take on cultural traditions.
Indeed. And that's just about how the story goes.
Of course it's never that easy. This is anime after all. Ash gets a little hasty and starts the quest that night. No thanks to a little urgency from Pikachu.
While we're on this subject, Leon, if I can chip in here, I quite like the bit where Team Rocket appears at the top of the stairs after Ash finds the first treasure. As per their changes to the Team Rocket motto, James talks about how they're on the big screen, and Ash intervenes by saying, "I'll have to catch this on video."
I love this scene. First of all, we have a bit of fourth wall breaking, and it's subtle and really works for this situation. Secondly, Ash interrupts them. I love how he doesn't have time for their ever-repetitive dialogue. When it comes to anime movies, I love changes to the status quo. However, we come to my least favorite bit in the movie, the quick dialogue about marriage and relationships. It's not Misty and Melody's dialogue that bugs me, it's Team Rocket's. The topic and dialogue choices did not fit with the movie, and it brought everything to a screeching halt, and it was very, very awkward to listen to.
I know where you're coming from. I shouldn't quote Meowth's reaction, but I will. Apparently, Jessie and James don't need the opposite sex because they've got each other. I must say, now you mention it, not exactly the most appropriate line for a family film, don't you think?
Tell me about it! This is supposed to be a G-rated movie from a children's anime. This was not the best idea. I just realized this is a parallel to My Little Pony. Yikes!
Yes. We got a PG from the BBFC here in the UK, just like with the first movie.
Thankfully, the awkwardness is quickly interrupted by the arrival of the legendary bird Zapdos, who comes to claim Moltres' island, Fire Island, as his own. Lawrence then pops in and snatches Zapdos along with our heroes and Team Rocket by accident.
When Lawrence tells them his motive and lets them go, the war between the 3 legendary Pokemon causes the fortress to crash land on Lightning Island. where Ash collects the second treasure. By then, news reports have said that Pokemon are gathering as close to the island as they possibly can. Professors Oak and Ivy are being interviewed about this, but Ash's mother, Delia, has stowed away on the helicopter, thinking more about her son than the fate of the world.
This leads to why Pikachu's behavior was odd during the first half of the movie. Pokemon are more in tune with nature than humans are. With Lawrence's actions threatening the world, the balance of nature is incredibly off-kilter. As a result, the world's Pokemon are very upset and are trying to help fix it by coming to Shimudi Island.
After Ash places the first two treasures in the shrine, when Lugia rises from the sea to quell the fighting, as per the legend, he gets seriously injured. But Melody's song heals him, and he communicates with Ash to retrieve the third treasure, with all of his Pokemon egging him on.
This leads to a very interesting twist. Recall a certain phrase from the legend, and thus the earth shall turn to ash. Based on first impressions, what does that make you think?
It would imply that the world would burn away.
That's right. In other words, the world is doomed. Or is it? Misty surprises the audience with something new, looking at the phrase in a different context. What if it meant that the world was putting its fate in the hands of one individual, Ash Ketchum? In other words, Ash's destiny is to save the world. As if that's anything new for this guy. And we get a subtle joke about Ash wishing he had a different name. We also have some character development for Melody, who regrets bringing Ash into all this. But the thing is, it isn't her fault at all. This was destiny, fate, events predetermined. Everything that led Ash to this point was meant to happen, to lead this hero to his heroic destiny.
So Ash half-bravely goes to collect the third treasure from Ice Island with the help of Team Rocket. But halfway down the mountain getting back to Shimuti, Lugia decides to give Ash a lift, with Team Rocket stowing away. When they realise they're too heavy for Lugia's foot, James teases about trying Weight Watchers, to which Jessie protests, "It's too late for that!"
This leads me to my earlier complaint. This entire movie had a great setup for Team Rocket to go good and for someone else to become the new villains. They help Ash get to Ice Island, and when they realize they're slowing Lugia down, they do something noble and heroic.
Team Rocket decides they're going to sacrifice themselves for Ash's life by letting go of Lugia and falling into the by now frozen sea.
But the ice is only a few layers thick, so they come out okay. But I have to continue this argument later because now we have an even more pressing matter. World Endangerer Lawrence III the Jerkwad pulls one more stunt. One that nearly dooms the world and everyone on it, just for his selfish greed.
With Lugia at large, Lawrence tries to capture him with Ash still on his collar. But Lugia destroys Lawrence's ship with Aeroblast, albeit draining his own energy to do that. Ash gets off safely, and after some help from Misty and Tracy, you've got to include them in the heroics somewhere, he places the final treasure in the shrine, just as the world weather disaster reaches breaking point.
And this leads to my favorite part of the entire movie. With the three treasures gathered, their powers explode and combine, turning the shrine into crystal and awaiting the Sea Guardian's song.
As Melody plays the song to cure the world, the crystallized pillars add a nice touch by lighting up to the notes of the song. And once the song is over, the legendary Pokemon go back to their home islands, and the weather and the environment returns to normal.
One thing I want to mention is the giant arc of water that comes out of the sea during the song. This is believed by many to be a physical representation of what the legend referred to as the Beast of the Sea, a powerful underwater current which was going to flood the world as explained by Professor Oak earlier in the movie. But my question is, why did it come out of the water like that?
We may never know the answer to that question. But when Delia comes down from the mountain, she is oblivious to the fact that Ash just saved the world, as she was always worried about him alone throughout the film.
Ah, the mother's love for the child, always very strong. We also get one more scene with Lawrence. He manages to find the thing that started his collection in the first place, the ancient Mew card, still intact. Through his dialogue and facial expressions, you can see that he realizes the consequences of his actions and plans on starting his collection again on a smaller scale. How it all began, and how it all begins again. But we have one more scene before the credits. Slowking greets Team Rocket as they make it back to Shimudi Island, and the three realize that they were good guys in this movie and have the potential to become good guys for good. And then they go right back to being bad guys, as if this movie never even happened.
And with that, that just about wraps up our very detailed explanation of Pokemon the Movie 2000. I hope that we haven't spoiled anything for anyone who hasn't watched the film yet.
Pokemon the Movie 2000 is a huge step up from Pokemon the first movie in many ways. The conflict was a bigger focus, the characters are all developed, even the side characters, and the legendaries have a bigger role in this movie as opposed to, whoa, I don't know, stealing and cloning the Pokemon of innocent trainers and then just monologuing for most of the movie, like Mewtwo did. However, there's a hiccup with the Gen 2 early birds for both movies. Between the two movies, Lugia is the only one who made a lasting impression on the fandom. Slowking just said stuff, Donphan got its butt kicked, Marill and Togepi did nothing, and I'm not counting the Pikachu shorts because they stand out as their own little productions. That, along with wasted ideas in this movie, keeps it from being the best movie in the franchise.
Very detailed, Leon. It's very difficult for me to describe the movie, and how much I liked it. So let us pop the question to the viewers. Leon, go for it.
Okay then, so what do you guys think of this movie? Be sure to leave your comments below. Also, if there's a YouTube personality you want critiqued, let me know and I'll include them and critique the critic. Oh, and if you're a Paw Patrol fan, check out my series Pup Pulls.
And if there are any other suggestions that you would like to make for future editions of The Work of the World or The British Blogger, I'd love you to tell me your suggestions, please. And on that note, I think that just about wraps up this edition of The Work of the World. I'm Riley the Orange Fox.
And I'm Leon the Wolf. Hey Riley, wanna end this on a funny note?
Take it away, Leon.
Team Rocket's bursting on again!
Never gets old.